Happy to meet you in Business Doctor. Today we are going to discuss about perspectives. We are going to have a perspective of perspectives. Why we do that today is that down the line we'll be discussing more about the teams, organization and business which involve people, and everybody will have their own perspective of things to be done. Let's begin with the Hare and Tortoise story, which we all heard ever since we did our schooling, our nursery. The story is very simple, that it was a race between hare and tortoise to prove the point that overconfidence is not good, or slow and steady wins the race, so on and so forth. So finally, the tortoise won the game, and everybody know that. That's all fine. Let's think about a scenario like this. The whole game was carried out on a surface, on a soil or on a surface. The hare can run faster. Tortoise can also move on land. Whereas tortoise can also live on water. Tortoise is an amphibian animal, whereas hare lives on land. See the fairness in this game. The game was supposed to be in the land, and tortoise won as per that story. Assume for a second the game was on water. There was no game, always the tortoise is going to win. Or assume that the game was on who can fly faster. Both are going to fail. So obviously this means that the conditions or the environment in which the test was carried out, was it fair? May not be. So when you are in a position to take a judgment on someone's work, or you're doing an appraisal, for example, or you're doing a promotion, or if you're a student, are they from the background or the conditions in which the student was subjecting himself to study, and from a scoring point of view, whatever it was. So when you apply the judgment, it needs to be fair. So was that, maybe it was equal, but was there an equity in that? May not be. So different results would come up based on different conditions. So it was always between the two. Only thing is, instead of the land, suppose if it is on water or if it is on air, the results are going to be different. So it gives you a different perspective of how the test could have been carried out to get whatever results you want. Particularly, when people who are doing in the areas of testing, where they need to test something, it it could be a mechanical one, or it could be in a software paradigm. The test data, for example, or the test environment or the test conditions will give you the results. If you change the environment, like from a land to water or to air, the whole thing, the results will be totally different. So what happens is that, based on how you look at, how you design that game, the results are going to be different. Why we give importance to that? Because when we are dealing with people, people have different perspectives. We all know that when you look at the glass, whether it is half empty or half full, it is again a perspective. It is better to view from another person's perspective, because it helps you to understand things in a different light. And there is opening up for the discussion will help you to get more an understanding of that particular item or things. Sometimes it may think it is very big, but in the real picture, if you break down from a different perspectives, the whole thing might be smaller. Perspective is more of a way of looking at things, whereas opinion is your personal thought or a point of view, which might change or it might be a hard frozen on your mind. You may have your own view, but still it's worthwhile to seek others' perspective so that you get a holistic view of your action or the impact of that action. Many times what happens is that it will help you to validate whether what you have done is correct or does it impact someone else. So the perspective taking is very important, when you grow up in an organization, when you grow up in a society. And definitely it helps you to improve your communication with others, and more than that, it reduces the misunderstandings and distortions of the truth. And if you are working on a product or a service, obviously it gives you an enlightenment in terms of how do you deal with the product or deal with the customer. And it will also give you a realistic assessment of your common and opposed interests. Suppose you have a view like it's half full and someone says that it's half empty, so it's an opposing interest. So it will help you to understand and realize the importance and the assessment per se of how others are looking at it. So that is very important, when you grow up in an organization, to take the opposed view or interest as well. This we'll be discussing more in the subject of organization and business, how the perspectives come into play when people interact in a team or in an individual contributor role. But for now, the simple thing is that it helps you to formulate a rule or an objective for yourself and for your team. Of course, the objective of your organization or the goal or your personal goal will also matter here. For that only you are going to form the rules or objectives. And more importantly, it helps you to manage your conflicts. When you have an opposing view, how you interact with the other person, how you interact as a team, from team A and team B, or individual to another individual, or individual to a team, or a team to an individual. It helps you to manage the various types of conflicts. Remember one thing, everyone looks at the world from their own perspective, and life is always full of perspectives. Have a nice day. Cheers. See you in the next video.